Hello and welcome back. My name is Oakley Dean Baldwin with the Baldwin Stories. My family and I have 30 thrillers and true crime books out now. We spend a lot of time researching our books and writing our books. We come out with about 2 a year now as we're getting a little bit older. We've been doing this for about 10 years. I currently have been working on a 1969 Roadrunner, on restoring that. But today I want to talk to you about the greatest moonshiner bootlegger of all times. His name was Joshua Percy Flowers. My book I call J. Percy Flowers, the Master Distiller. You can get this book on Amazon. Just type in my full name, Oakley Dean Baldwin. Be sure to like and subscribe this YouTube channel. So today we're going to talk a little bit about Percy Flowers. He's probably the greatest and largest moonshiner of all times. And I make a good case for that in this book. I think if you take all the famous moonshiners, Popcorn Sutton, Matilda Mullins, Junior Johnson with NASCAR, Al Capone, Joseph Kennedy, the president, father of President John F. Kennedy, all of these moonshiners put together could not even handle the sandals from Percy Flowers. Percy was born in 1903 in Wilson County, North Carolina, and about 2 years later his family moved to Johnston County, North Carolina, which was probably an hour's drive as far as moving by vehicle. And Percy was one of 9 kids, working on a farm. As most kids did back in the early 1900s, he worked behind a mule pulling a plow, probably 12, 14 hours a day, even at the age of 8 or 9 or 10 years old. Well, he tells of a story when he was 16 years old that his dad told him to run up to the barn and get some tobacco sticks, tobacco, cotton, and of course moonshine. But those were products raised on the farm back in that day. So Percy, being tired, he was walking up to the house. Well, his father came up behind him with an extra tobacco stick and actually hit Percy so hard it knocked him to the ground. So when he rolled over and looked up, he saw his dad rearing back to take another hit on him with that stick. So he got up, jumped up, and ran in the woods. And his father, of course, yelled at him to come back. And Percy hid that night out in the woods and walked around, saw a light flickering way back in the woods. And so he approached that light, and it turned out to be one of their workers named Lester. And Lester didn't particularly care to have 16-year-old Percy Flowers in the woods with him. He told me to tell his father. And Percy rightly told him back, "If you do, I'll tell my dad what you're doing out here." He said, "I would rather you teach me how to make the moonshine." That's what he was doing. He was mashing in some moonshine. So over the next year, Percy would sneak out in the woods, and Lester taught him how to make moonshine. So Percy started making it so good and taste so good that he had a client base. He developed a good client base for it, and he started selling it to the point where he raised enough money to where he could buy a still off of Lester and start making his own moonshine, and that's what he did. And that was until several months later, Lester told him that he had witnessed a stranger walking around Percy's mash barrels. So Percy got his shotgun with birdshot, and he sat in the woods and waited for this stranger to show up. And sure enough, within a few days or within a few nights, this shadowy figure appeared and started leaning over his mash barrels. When he did, Percy took aim and fired his shotgun at him and shot him in the seat of his pants and knocking him down to the ground. When he started screaming, other men started running towards the site. Well, Percy had no way of knowing at the time. He had just shot the Johnston County Sheriff in the butt with birdshot. So Percy took off running and did not get caught, but the sheriff and his deputies did confiscate his first steal and the moonshine that he had already made and dumped the mash from the mash barrel. So that was the first episode that Percy almost got in trouble for with the law. And that was 1919. Percy had a run, which I plan to cover here, some on this video, but maybe over the next 2 or 3 videos. He had, in the fortunate circumstance, the following year, we actually passed Prohibition in this country, where moonshining and whiskey was illegal until 1933 when it was appealed. But for that period of time, many speakeasies couldn't get enough moonshine. So Percy really did open up the floodgates with making moonshine. He involved several family members, several close friends, and even in the early 1930s, it is said that he was making $1 million a year on moonshine, which is almost unheard of. Like I said, the example I gave earlier was that all those other moonshiners that I listed couldn't carry his sandals when it came to the production and the sale of moonshine. So I want to let you go there. I like to keep my videos short, and I'll pick up after the Great Depression on the next video. And until then, be sure to subscribe to this channel. I've got a lot more thrillers coming up. I'm writing on a couple new books, and I did show you earlier, but I'll show you again. Go to Amazon, pick up this book. It's on fire. It's doing very well. And be sure to leave a nice review. I've got the best readers in the world, not so much on reviews. So would love to see more reviews. And I'm going to sign off now, but thank you for watching and take care.